Hi and welcome to this video for Andy, the Aspen Network for Development Entrepreneurs, relating to their recent report on impact investing across Asia. I'm Jess Dye, a Senior Associate in the Corporate Practice of Allen Overy Singapore. Our team has assisted in preparing the Singapore sections of Andy's report on the current frameworks for impact investing. I'm here with my A&O colleagues Felicia Tan and Kristen Bong, both Senior Associates in Singapore, to discuss the report and give you an overview of the key themes and considerations.
For the purposes of this discussion, we should first differentiate between what we call social enterprises and charities in Singapore. Broadly speaking, social enterprises are businesses that are run on a for-profit with a specified social aim, whereas charities are organizations that are run on a non-profit basis with a specified social aim. For social enterprises, unlike some other jurisdictions such as the US, the legal framework in Singapore does not provide for a specific and separate corporate form. To establish a social enterprise, the same corporate structures which are used for the incorporation of ordinary for-profit organizations would need to be used. For example, sole proprietorships, limited partnerships, limited liability partnerships, or private companies limited by shares. The majority of social enterprises in Singapore are set up as private companies limited by shares. For charities, there are two main forms or structures that are typically used when setting up a charity: a company limited by guarantee and a society. In addition to these, a charity may also be set up as a charitable trust or as a cooperative society. In comparison to the company limited by guarantee or the society, the charitable trust and the cooperative society are not as commonly used as structures for charities in Singapore. It is also noted that the term charity refers to the status of an organization and not its legal structure. Accordingly, in addition to the corporate form or structure, it would also need to be considered whether a charity should be simply registered as a registered charity or if it should be registered as an institution of public character, which is a subset of the registered charity status and would afford certain tax reliefs to donors.
So Singapore's regulatory, business environment, world-class infrastructure and tax incentive regimes make it an asset management and funds hub in the region and the world. When combined with the strong support from regulators and policymakers to develop the ESG and sustainability space, this makes Singapore a very attractive fund domicile. Managers will find that the fund structures available in Singapore are similar to what is available in other popular fund domiciles. Singapore has limited partnership structures, private limited companies, unit trusts, and has most recently introduced the variable capital company structure. Singapore is a leading financial hub in Asia with a skilled talent pool and a strong commitment to innovation and sustainability. Singapore is also a supportive ecosystem of intermediaries, networks, and initiatives that facilitate capital flows, capacity building, and collaboration amongst diverse stakeholders. These features provide a foundation for impact investment into the jurisdiction, as well as opportunities to use Singapore as a launchpad for impact investment in the region, especially in light of active promotion by the government and government-linked corporations. To give you just a few examples, the Temasek Trust in Singapore has established a Centre for Impact Investing and Practices to foster best practice and Asian thought leadership in impact investing, with the aim of increasing private capital allocation from companies, investors and philanthropists towards impact outcomes in communities in Asia and beyond. An example of an impact investing structure in practice is the Temasek-backed private equity fund ABC Impact, which has now launched its second fund. More broadly, there's no shortage of impact investment opportunities for sustainability in Singapore. Singapore Green Plan 2030 is a government initiative to drive sustainable development across sectors including renewable energy, transportation, water and waste management, and these opportunities dovetail with this whole-of-nation drive towards sustainability.
The ways in which social enterprises and charities may raise funds and obtain investments are dependent on their corporate form and whether they hold charitable status. Social enterprises or businesses with a specific social aim are not separately regulated from other organizations as a matter of Singapore law. Accordingly, their raising of investment will be treated in the same manner as the raising of investment by an ordinary business. Private companies limited by shares have the ability to use a broad range of investment instruments for their fundraising purposes. Generally, companies may obtain funds by capital investment, such as shares or their equivalents, or by debt. Bonds, also referred to as debentures or notes, are essentially a form of debt against the company. As with any other kind of loan, a bond may provide for interest to be paid to the bondholder at specified interest payment dates. Singapore law also allows for bonds to be issued that are convertible into shares. Given that social enterprises are very much in a nascent state in Singapore, it would be more usual for a social enterprise to issue ordinary or preference shares or enter into a loan agreement rather than utilize other investment instruments as discussed in our report. These types of instruments are common in the venture capital or private equity space for the funding of startups, and a social enterprise that has good profit prospects would be similarly able to use such forms of funding. Whether and how the monies raised are used for social purposes is a matter of private contract between the investor and the social enterprise, and measurement metrics would be a relevant consideration for inclusion in agreements between them.
Impact investing in Singapore offers opportunities to address social and environmental challenges in various sectors, such as financial inclusion, education, health, clean energy, and urban solutions, both locally and across Southeast Asia and beyond. Impact investing and philanthropy is supported by the Singapore government and international networks. Singapore's economy and the wealth of its residents and corporations have been steadily growing over the number of years and generally exceeds global rates. This rising prosperity, teamed with Singapore's tradition of philanthropy and reputation as a financial centre in the region, means that many of its corporations, high net worth individuals, family offices and foundations have the ability to contribute to various charitable causes. As Felicia mentioned, while there is a framework for non-profit organisations to obtain charity status in Singapore, the legislative framework in Singapore does not have a specific and separate corporate form for a for-profit social enterprise. Impact investors looking to set up in Singapore would have to rely on existing corporate structures, which are typically used for ordinary for-profit organisations, like a private limited company. However, this is not a material issue. As Felicia mentioned, there are various equity or debt instruments and governance structures which are also used to allow impact investors to achieve their social or environmental objectives whilst making a financial return on their investment.
Thanks for watching this video about impact investing in Singapore. We hope you found it informative, and we'll look at the remainder of the report to find out more.